Hey y'all, Billy Thomas here, and in case you're wondering what this video is about, we're going to be taking a look at the SQL Server Case Statement. Let's get to work. So that you can follow along better with what I'm doing, I've included in the comments in the video below a link to a GitHub page that will allow you to download both the table I'll be working with and the SQL statements I'm working with. So if you grab that link and you put it into a browser and you hit enter, you're going to come right to this page that I'm showing you here on the screen. All you need to do is take this case statement SQL and the sales table SQL. If you click on it and go over to the three dots and hit download, get each one of those. Once they're downloaded, you're going to click on the file and it's going to open up an SSMS. If it doesn't open up an SSMS, you may need to tell it when it asks you what application you're using that you want anything with the .SQL to open up an SSMS. So I'm going to just go ahead and open this one and then go back to my browser and open this one. All right, so I've got two scripts open in SQL. One's to create the table and the other is for the exercise. That's going to get us started. Now that you've got these SQL statements in SSMS, you're going to want to execute the one that's the create table that has the data in it so that we can work with it. So if you go to that script and you hit execute, it should say that 14 rows were inserted. Hopefully you don't get any errors. The only thing that I could think of that might go wrong is if you already have a sales table. And if you do, just change the name of it, call it Z sales or something like that. But the definition of the tables here as well as the data. Then we need to take a look at what is a case statement and why would we need it or use it. A case statement really is nothing more than an evaluation of some criteria. You could be evaluating numbers, data, variables, data in a table, fields, and you're going to use, it sort of works like an if-then. So you put a condition in, you say if X equals Y, and then there's a then statement. You say if it does, do this. If it doesn't do this, end, right? So if you look at this first very simple case statement, this is the syntax. Select, we're saying a case, so it's case when, and then there's an evaluation. Now this one is not going to be true. When 1 equals 2, that's false. So the first thing it does, it says, well, if it's true, then I told it to say yes. If it's false, I told it to say no. And then I just said, let's call that a test, right? So let me execute this, okay? And it says 1 does not equal 2, so it's no. The other thing we could do is let's just see when it is equal. If 1 equals 1, it's going to say yes. The secret sauce is right here. There's no, this could say A or B, right? If 1 equals 1, then A. So let's run that. 1 equals 1, A. It could be true and false. So let's put that in there. Does 1 equal 1? Yes, true. Does 1 equal 3? No, false. The other thing is when we're evaluating things, we can't mix alphas and numerics. Does 1 equal A? Okay, it doesn't like that, right? We'd have to do some casting and converting to look at the apples versus oranges. So that's not a good tester. You want to keep things, and that gets really important when you start getting into complex case statements, that you keep things, if you're evaluating varchars or characters, they all are characters. Dates are all dates. Numbers are all numbers. So that is the very simple case statement in its truest, simplest form. Now, to really move forward, let's take a look at the data that we put in our sales table. I have 3 columns, 14 rows, very simple for us to get our head around. And if we look at this, I think the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the state column. In the state column, what we want to do is we want to evaluate the state column, and we want it to tell us anywhere where it's South Carolina. Now, I know you can use a filter for this, but we're doing this for Again, simple examples. We use this case statement all the time in data quality to say whether something is true or false, or it passes or fails. So I just want to show you a couple of different ways that we use it. So if we're going through this state, we're going to say in our select statement, we just list out the fields, and then we use a case statement for one of the fields that we're going to list out. And in this case, we're saying when the state equals South Carolina, the positive is going to be a true, the negative is going to be a false. Let's run that. Okay, it goes through record by record. It says if South Carolina, true, true, true. Georgia, false. Ohio, false. Florida, false. South Carolina, false. Now again, to make sure you're understanding this, this is just text, right? It doesn't know that, it doesn't know anything, but it's just displaying the characters you put here. You can say hello and goodbye. Let's run that. If you're in South Carolina, they say hello. Everywhere else, they say goodbye. It's just taking the text that we put in here. We're in charge of the case statement. When it's true, say this. When it's false, say this. And you can say true or false. You can say yes, no. You can say pass, fail. Let's do the pass, fail. When state equals South Carolina, pass it. When it's not South Carolina, fail it. All right, this is our data quality. And we run that. And by the way, the shortcut key I just hit was F5. It's the same as hitting the execute button over here. All right, so South Carolina, true, pass, false, fail. All right, if it's South Carolina, then put pass in here. If it's not South Carolina, else put fail in here. Simple. Now, what about a nested query? Can we do a nested query as part of this? Absolutely. And what we're going to do is we're going to use it as a field, and we're going to say we're going to look through all the sales, and we're going to look for the highest sales in our sales orders. And whatever the max sales is, we're going to mark that as true in the biggest sale column. So we've said select the name, state, and sales, and then in the case when sales equals, and here is our nested query, select a max from sales, max sales from sales, then true or false. Let's run this. Okay, now we look down through here, we should only see one true. There should only be one record that's the max. It would get interesting to see if we had two records that were the max, they would both say true because they tied for max, all right? But that's really how the nested query is going to work. It goes through and it says on this side, okay, I'm looking at the sales field. On this side, I'm looking at select a max from sales. Now I can run this since this is a nested query. I'm just going to highlight that and run it. There we go. Right here, select a max sales from sales. Run. This guy, just want to run this guy, execute it. There it is. That's what I was trying to get. I wanted to see that 1,000 number. So it's basically saying when sales equals 1,000, then true, else false. That's what happens when we run this guy right here. Goes through it, sees the max sales there being 1,000, and then puts the true there. That's in a nested query in the field. We can also use the case statement in a where statement or a where clause. And let me open this up just a little bit so that you can see this. So again, we're using the same table and we're using the same fields, name, state, and sales. And we're saying, all right, so if we just look at this, this is just listing out the data. But now we're going to use that nested query inside of a where statement. So this is about as complicated as it gets. So go here, you say where, and I've kind of formatted this so that you can kind of wrap your head around this, because a where statement is basically X equals Y. In this case, in this example, the case statement is the X, right? So we say on this side, if the evaluation of the field sales is the max sales, true or false, and then we only want to get the true. So if I run this, it'll make more sense. Okay. It just brings back the record where the sales was the greatest or the biggest sales is true. All right. Because we said select it from sales where, and then we're basically looking for that case statement to be true. And we know from the last select that we did that there was one record that had 1,000. That was the max of the sales, and it gives us that record. This is all you need to get started with case statements. Go ahead, use the examples, work through them, make your own examples, try it out. Good luck. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it is, would you please like it, share it, subscribe to my channel, and have yourself a great day. Take care.